Hello and welcome. My name is Marc Blatstein, the physician founder of Physician Presentence Report Service. I am a physician federal prison consultant. My phone 240-888-7778. Here's the website homepage, pprsus.com. If we come down to the bottom part of it, here I have federal courts news you can use, and I have several other articles I've written. This one deals with healthcare, still the DOJ's number one target. DOJ's rather is the number one target. From Becker's Hospital Review, meant for physicians, providers, executives within the medical, healthcare space, life sciences, wherever you are, the Department of Justice is watching. They have artificial intelligence analytics that is looking at everything that we do all the time, 24/7, 365, and they're looking for deviations from deviations that would make you stand out in order for them to do an audit. So the Becker's Hospital Review is a very helpful periodical. Here we're dealing with DEI, False Claims Act, LGBTQ, and the availability of women's reproductive medical care, the access to Medicaid, and the Affordable Care Act. And so all of this is putting a strain on on healthcare providers and the system in general, because we're not taught to provide healthcare to people and then ask them, are they DEI, are they LGBTQ, or women expected, in the year 2026 to be able to get reproductive health care. And yet these are all being challenged by this administration and the courts. And so it's not a healthy place to be. It's part the, the fraud division, they launched this West Coast strike force. California could be its own country, it's so large. But going after those that are in, this part of Northern California, and they're looking at anything. It's all driven by data showing significant and accelerating increase in healthcare fraud across all the districts. Specifically, I'm going to start with risk management prevention. You want to go ahead and keep your practice. You want to keep your business clear of a DOJ audit, Department of Justice audit. And that's a key to your finances and freedom. I mean, False Claims Act can be a very stiff financial penalty. You may not go to prison, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. Budgets are tight, and the Department of Justice, is just looking for convictions. And so here we have healthcare risk management. This is clinician.com. While it's from 2025, it's still appropriate. Evolution of the False Claims Act, misuse of opioids, AI is becoming a new threat, very big. I covered this in many of my videos. Telehealth requires scrutiny on standard of care. True. It's been given an extension from January 26th to the end of December 2026. But still, you still need to actually be able to document that you're seeing patients, even if it's telehealth. Legal review and commentary, suit dismissed after mixing board certifications. Hospitals win rather dismissals. And so the understanding here is that, excuse me, is that you do not have to plead. You can win at going to trial, but this is a strategic decision between you and your counsel. Just pleading to anything willy-nilly is also not recommendation. You can plead to everything. You can do an open plea. You don't want to just plea and let the Department of Justice write it for you. And so here they go through executive summary. Department of Justice targeting healthcare industry for False Claims Act enforcement, even as it backs off other industries. White collar, this is a free space. People can almost do what they want. There is no, white collar crimes have dropped because all of the Department of Justice efforts has either been put into healthcare or immigration. And so, if you're bribing or doing other things, then I don't have an opinion here. They go through billing services, but there needs to be policies and procedures in place where internally you can do audits. And then if you're large enough, maybe you have counsel that comes in and they do audits also of your daily practices. But it's very important for you and for your counsel for you to have a paper trail that shows that you're paying attention to all of the policies and procedures. I'm going through this kind of quickly. Yeah, if you're going through that, you have a risk management policy and procedure in place, and that you're doing your best to follow it. That'll take a lot of the sting out of what you're doing. I understand that being involved in a DOJ healthcare inquiry is stressful. I went through this in 2006. Having experienced legal representation in cases like yours. In other words, when you pick an attorney, they need to kind of understand, where the space in which you practice. If you've been found or pled guilty, call me. Preparation at this point for your pre-sentence interview, pre-sentence report. This is up to you. Your attorney cannot do much for you here. National healthcare fraud takedown was tremendous. They had a $15 billion takedown, and this just gave them more drive to continue. The stresses on the 2027 budget is going to impact you providers and those in life sciences and those who support the healthcare sector indirectly, because there's been, $15 billion cut here. NIH loses 5 billion, institutes were eliminated. And so with all these cuts going on surrounding the support structure for the medical industry here in the United States, you could be tempted, if dollars are short, to do something within your practice or business. They may not be kosher. And I could just say, do not do that, because eventually, you don't want to be the last one to find out that they've been looking at you. And here we have, I jump into mifepristone. The Supreme Court temporarily reinstated it, but restores rather the ability to get mifepristone by mail. But there's so many daggers or points of contact that are impacting physicians in the practice of medicine and healthcare, that sometimes you lose sight that we're treating patients, and at the same time the Department of Justice is keeping us from, and the budgets are keeping us from treating patients. I hope you found this helpful. It's not good to know that you're the primary target, but the Department of Justice made that very clear. And on that note, I hope you found this helpful, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Have a good day.